Too hard. Way too hard.
Fantastic. Okay. Having the hardest time putting on these headphones.
Can I turn down my headphone feed just a little? It's a little loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a. Yep, that's perfect.
Testing for you.
Sounds beautiful.
Cool. Okay.
Are we hot? Are we live?
We have been live since you've been playing that piano, sir.
Oh.
You just brought us in, and that was fantastic. That was
Wow.
Michael Silverstein. Everybody.
I didn't
Michael Silverstein on
sign any waiver for this. No, I don't think.
Thanks for doing it, man.
I don't think. It was just a little working music while you set up.
That should work too. Or a famous clip you put out on your channel.
No, I don't talk about music much on my page.
Why not?
That's a good question. Music's vulnerable. We talked about this a little bit. Like, I think it's hard being a vocalist because if you're not amazing, you're terrible. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I don't mean that actually. I just mean how it is perceived. Like, you get torn apart if you're like off key or whatever. I feel like singing's tough.
Sure. Yeah. And the coach, I mean, I've never had any coaches coach me singing, but I would assume that they'd have some, it's probably the most critical of some of the arts. You know, most of it is kind of abstract, but if you miss a note, yeah, you missed a note.
You missed a note. I missed a lot of notes on that piano a few minutes ago.
It was, I'm not going to be able to sit down and do that. I don't know how long that took you to figure out how to do. 20 years? How long have you been playing the piano?
Since I was 5.
Really?
Yeah.
So 20 years.
But I played that song maybe in high school. I peaked. I peaked in music in high school, I would say. High school and college. No, I played a lot in college, actually. And continued doing music. That's where I really started writing. A lot of music was in college. Writing and producing and getting into studio recording and all kinds of other stuff, which sadly just isn't part of my life anymore. But I miss it. I miss music. It's a really, I shouldn't have let it, I don't know, go down the list of priorities in my life. I
somewhat have a similar regret in that in high school, I wish I could have done some of the artsy things, but I stuck directly to basketball because that's what I had put all my.
Interesting.
Every egg was in that basket until the day there were no eggs in the basket, and then I went to college.
Yeah. I am many things, but athletic is not one of them.
I mean, I feel like you could probably play football.
I did play football for fun. I mean, not on like a team, but I love playing football. It's fun. Yeah. Played with friends growing up like my whole life. But I was too busy in marching band to ever play on the football team.
Right. What did you play?
I was always on the sideline. I played brass, and then my second 2 years of high school, I was actually the drum major. So I was the guy up there conducting in front of the stadium for the halftime show.
Nice. Wait, drum major, that's like the highest?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're not even drumming, right?
No, you're the
just,
conductor.
You're just the guy with the feather.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Actually, so there's a girl who lives right by you, my very close friend from high school.
Oh, really?
She was in the marching band with me, and she's like my other really close friend here in Texas who lives over by the university. And she found, I think her mom sent her these pictures of us in marching band in high school, and she just brought them over to my house the other day, and it is funny stuff.
Why?
I mean, just seeing yourself as a kid is funny enough, but like in the all white uniform with the feather and like, man, it was great. It was great.
Like an English pimp.
Yeah, for sure.
Or something. Marching down the street.
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, I mean, marching band's not the coolest thing, but it was like amazingly fun.
I know. I was in a marching band in middle school. Yeah. I was able to do that. I was the trombone guy.
Yeah, super competitive. Marching band is super competitive. Yeah. So, what are we talking about tonight, other than high school marching band?
I mean, high school marching band is cool. No, you didn't get shoved in your locker.
No, I was like too cool for that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Cheers, man.
Cheers to you.
We didn't even do that. We just started drinking. We skipped the niceties.
It's all good. I mean, I did introduce you on the piano.
Did you? Oh, a little echo there. I need to be gentle.
All good. Yeah. Really, I kind of just, I had written like some bullet points before. Are we drinking straight tequila right now, first of all? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so I know.
Okay. What makes up for it is that it's pretty nice tequila.
That is true. Yeah.
It is a sippable tequila, I guess, but the ice helps a little.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't even taste tequila. I mean, I haven't tasted this one yet.
Oh, I didn't pour you any because there's too much.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
This has been fine for now.
Yeah,
I think this is cool for now.
You know, so I was gonna say we now weekend 2 of shooting together a mini pilot episode of a TV show. And I would say I think I have learned a lot. You've been doing variations of this, but I have learned a lot. And man, do I have a lot to say about that.
I see, that's the thing. I wasn't sure what you were going to call it, what I was allowed to talk about, and I was going to ask what what can I talk about? Actually, really, what can I talk about, if anything?
I don't think any of it's a secret.
Okay, cool.
No, I don't think any of it's a secret. I mean, obviously, any specifics that, channels and things, like, just basic things, but we can absolutely talk about what we did. And I'm curious your thoughts. And because I know, I think you had said you hadn't really shot a food-based product, or
not in sense of having a personality and kind of like making a structured video with some sort of talent behind it. It's all been promo based generally.
Like commercial.
All of my work is very promo, highlight, commercial style. Yeah.
It's interesting because you did not seem to be out of your element.
Where?
In any of it. I thought you just seemed completely natural. You just like nailed it. I don't know if you like.
I mean, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean it though. Yeah, I've been kind of blown away the past 2 chances we've had to film together this last couple of weeks. I think it's impressive because what we're doing should be done by a team.
It should be done by a team. It absolutely should be done by a team. But like we were talking about yesterday, like all of the bigs, a lot of the, if not, okay, everybody has like every single skill that is famous and doing all the YouTube stuff. They know how to do every part of creating that video.
Yeah.
Even down to the sound, which is, you wouldn't believe it, very difficult, as we're finding.
Yeah, definitely.
With our project.
Yeah.
As well. But I forget exactly where I was going with that. Oh, everybody, that fire. Oh my God. And tequila. Does tequila catch on fire? Is that one? That's the one that catches on fire, right?
Probably all of them do. For the record, that was not my fault. Wait, I think it was completely my fault.
What were you trying to do? Is there something I can help you with?
I wanted to lean back, so I was going to bring the mic with me.
I see.
You have it tightened.
I see.
Yeah.
There we are.
I'll do that without knocking
the whole
table over.
No worries.
Yeah. Like, if your podcast guest is sitting on a couch with a blanket, you can imagine it's
not naked.
Not naked.
Hashtag not naked.
Not naked. I mean, that would be okay.
That would be
really funny.
Go ahead and stand up and show him. No.
It's like the show we were watching today. A lot of nudity.
Mm.
Well, nudity adjacent.
Yes, lots of angles. There were lots of adjacent angles
and hands.
45-degree adjacent angles bending straight into the sky.
Yeah, a lot of man butt.
Bert, thanks, I guess.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Thanks for that.
That show was a lot.
The Cabin, streaming now on Netflix.
The Cabin, it was a little disappointing.
it's just not what I was expecting. I'm a giant Bert Kreischer fan. I'm slightly. I mean, I've only seen 4 episodes, I guess. Got to miss Pat, and I'm.
But I wouldn't say it was getting better.
Just judging from what I've heard on the podcast and them talking about Leanne's role, his wife, like, I still don't like that the graphic felt so cheesy. But I'm curious if it actually comes to some sort of boiling point. And I'm going to watch the rest of it somewhere.
This episode 4 that we watched got a little bit more heavy and more serious, so I wonder if it will take that route. But I thought the production was pretty hard to watch, actually.
Yeah.
Even though there were some moments where I was genuinely like laughing out loud. The production was so bad that it was kind of hard to watch.
I still am like I'm curious if it's the refresh rate or the frame rate that was going on with with the TV and the, like, I don't know.
And
I don't know what standard
the editing and
frames
graphics were pretty bad.
The graphics were absolutely no.
Like High School Project.
It felt very High School Project.
Without trying to be cute about it, feeling High School Project.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
We were talking about video.
We were talking about
our
video.
stuff. Yeah, I think we learned a lot. I said in the car today, I said, I need to stop underestimating how long this shit takes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That just was a constant for me. Like, no matter how hard, I thought today I had, pre-planned the questions. I had very specific appointment times set up.
Right.
We had, kind of everything in place, confirmed days ahead, confirmed morning of for the second time. And we still kind of ran into some just delays.
There's always something to jump. There's a hurdle. There's a curb to make sure you don't fall while you're back ninja walking, keeping that steady, stabilized shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I shouldn't have been surprised because like it took us 2 days to film a MasterChef episode that was like, what, 40 minutes without
that's almost the same thing.
Commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's with 80 staff or whatever.
Right. And that was your initial point to begin with. That's where I was going with my YouTube.
With control rooms
famous
and
YouTube.
full editing staff and
right.
full AV costume and I mean just like anything you can think of.
And they have multicam too. This is a single cam operation, single man operation.
Which means sometimes
we're
getting the same shot 3 times.
Huh?
Getting the same shot like 3 times. So that you can overlay it, or we have options.
Right. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is a good rule because in my head, whenever I'm getting a shot, I want to make sure that 1, it's in focus where I want it, 2, it's steady and moving in the pan or whatever I'm doing. I like to have 3 perfect ones before I move on from a thing. So that would then mean that we're going to be there for 3 times the amount of hours.
Right.
Potentially.
Right.
Or 3 times the amount of time.
Unless we had, 2 cameramen behind you.
Right. One with a tight, one with a wide, one with a medium.
Yeah. I mean, and that doesn't guarantee success either, because then it's still on all of us of getting it right at the same time. Like we talked about this a little bit. I think both of us felt the sort of pressure to, not pressure in a stressful way, but the pressure to perform in a certain way, because if I'm trying to hit the perfect moment and I say everything right and I give all the right, kind of mannerisms and I do my job right perfectly, if you miss the shot.
And I missed the shot. Mm-hmm.
And that might have been my one take.
Yeah.
Like it will never be that good again. And then of course the exact opposite of that.
Sure.
You're like hitting the perfect shot.
Right.
And I stumble on my words. But it's over.
I see I think it might hit you differently just because you're like giving so much more. You're the one having to be open, and I'm just making sure that it looks right and receiving it, and it's
sure.
So you might have like more of a.
You make up for that in physical load, though.
Sure.
Having to handle the cameras and the backpacks and all by
right.
yourself. I'd say that makes up for that.
Yeah. It's the yin yang thing. It's all good.
Yeah, it's a chemistry. I mean, you have to find the right kind of chemistry. And when we were bringing guests into it, if their chemistry wasn't meshing, there was only so much we could do.
Right.
We can't stand there all day and try. Like, if the chemistry's off, it's just off. And like that's another thing I learned today about working with guests. I think like having additional people on camera who are not. I don't know what the right word is.
Wild cards. They're all wild cards.
Yeah. They're not used to it. They're not necessarily fully comfortable. And, they're trying to make the most of it just like we are, but they get nervous naturally. I mean, I think it's hard to be on camera. The only way I find you get better on camera is just by doing it a lot.
That's really the only way to do it.
It's the only way, because you're going to suck in your first video.
And you're going to be extremely self-conscious, and you're going to hate yourself, and you're going to look at it and hate your voice and nitpick and all the different things that go wrong with it.
Absolutely. I talk about this a lot with a buddy of ours that, the first is always going to be the worst. You just have to dive in. My first dishes, my first food photos, all that. I'm sure they were terrible. Absolutely terrible. You just got to keep doing it. I think that's the key. This is my first podcast, so it's going to be really bad.
This is your first podcast?
No,
I was about to say,
no.
I don't know if that's true.
No.
Tequilas.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, though. Interesting stuff.
What's the besides that it's going to take so long, or that it will take longer than you would expect? Like, what else have you learned?
Good question. I guess, obviously getting some coaching and seeing myself on film, I'm obviously learning a lot about how to present on camera. I think working on having the right energy, whatever that means for the scenario, but having the right energy with full authenticity is really challenging about being on camera.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have some experience with that, because what I'm thinking you're trying to say is, while you're watching it back, you have like this, I guess it's you're trying to find the visual representation of your standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what makes you feel how you maybe want to see yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's really easy on camera to come off, at one end, it's really easy to come off as nervous or awkward. The other end is you come off as like, a news anchor, really corny and like too polished.
Right.
There's like a very tricky point of perfection where it like lies right in between that sort of fake corniness and awkward as hell. And just being really in that middle spot, which ultimately is authenticity. I mean, that's where like that rests for, in my opinion, is like that middle ground is when you really just come off as yourself. But what's tricky about camera is that your daily interactions of yourself on camera would come off as really unexcited. Like, I think you do have to, the camera eats energy in a certain way.
Yes, absolutely.
Undeniably.
It's soul sucking.
Yeah. It just does. So what I have found about myself on camera is that when I think that I sound corny or too energetic, I am just where I should be.
You're meeting normal.
Yeah. On camera.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, no way.
In real life, I'm over here in the corner snickering.
Yeah. I don't really understand the science behind that, but it's just true. Like, it feels over the top, and it does drain my energy to like stay at that level.
Yeah.
For hours at a time.
Well, so how much would you say on a scale, like, did jumping from that to freestyling do for you in terms of like comfortability level?
Freestyle?
Yeah, because you went we like changed up the kind of script that we were kind of sticking to.
Yeah, when I was kind of working on like a script versus like improv. Yeah, I see what you're
because
saying.
I feel like that's going to help with the personality you were just talking about.
I think improv for me helps because I don't have to be in my head about what I'm saying and just talk. But it still falls into what I was saying earlier around like keeping the same energy. Like I still felt like I had to keep that elevated energy. But if you push it, 1% too far, then you just come off inauthentic or corny or whatever, like a newscaster. It sounds in my head like I'm talking like a newscaster. But I don't know. Yeah, I think I prefer to be off script. I did a Disney Channel audition a couple months back earlier in quarantine. They asked me to do an audition for a Disney Channel children's cooking competition, baking competition, and I was auditioning for the male host or like host number 1 or whatever, and then there was a female host spot as well.
Yeah,
so it was going to be a co-host. And the first round of the audition was a script. It was like the opening to the show, and man, the script is so badly written.
Cheesy.
It was so cheesy, and
organic cheese only. I'm sure it's being made in California
to an extreme level. And man, and of course, because of COVID, everything was recorded. So I had to record this all in my house on a tripod. So I have nobody to feed energy off of. So I'm just in my house by myself reading this children's script, which was so badly written, to be honest. And I don't know if that was really the script. It was just something they want us to use. And strangely, so I did the script. It was so hard. I had to memorize it and all. And then it was like a 1-page little thing. So I did it. I sent in the video. And it was so bad. It's embarrassing. I've never showed anybody. I mean, is that
Can I please
bad?
See it?
Absolutely not.
Please?
It is so
Let
bad.
me see it. I'd like to see how far you've come. Like
that would be interesting because I haven't watched it.
Because maybe you'd get it. I don't know. Well, you didn't get it, right? Sorry.
No. Well, obviously I didn't get it.
Right.
No, I did get a callback though. So I got the callback. Oh, I brought this up not to talk about the interview, but because when I got the callback, they said, "Okay, this round, it's improv. This round, we just want you to pretend that a kid just brought up their cake, and you're judging it. All improv with no props. Like we just want to see you pretend, play out the scenario and pretend that there's a kid in front of you." And I did that. And like one take, I just did it. So, I don't know what they're looking for. I have no idea. I didn't really even know if I wanted the job. And sent it into my agent. My agent wrote me back. It was like, that was way better. Like, it was way better. Yeah. The improv stuff is way better for me. I'm not an actor. And that was a really long story that I didn't intend it for it to be that long. But the point is, I'm not an actor and I don't want to act or sit there and read some corny pre-written script.
Yeah.
And I would say that's another good thing that we definitely learned the last couple of weekends, which was that I don't think over scripting does any good.
No, it definitely, I think it was an interesting idea to write down the exact thing that you, like your actual mission statement, like exactly what you want to tell the audience, and then have that as your North Star, go out and just freestyle the whole time with that in mind.
Yeah.
Like a mission statement.
Pre-planning and kind of, but not scripting word for word.
I guess in my head, I'm picturing the script being word for word in the mission statement, but maybe I see what you're saying though. Not writing out anything that you,
Well, like when we found the right mission statement to start off the video with today, it clicked.
Right.
Like there was like a very defined moment where we were both like, oh shit, light bulb went off on day 4.
Right.
And then we were in it, we did kind of inject that language right off the bat into the next 2 takes. But right after that mission statement was injected in, the rest wasn't scripted.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you would just need a bullet point.
We just need the bullet point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But then exactly how, how it's communicated. And you did that to me because you literally started throwing
starters.
Starters at me just to see how I'd handle
you.
it. Yeah. And it almost got me kind of pumped up. Like I fed off that energy. Which was actually pretty damn helpful.
That's another part of the job that nobody thinks about either. Right. The producer.
Right.
Nobody thinks about the producer director.
And I would say with this particular shoot, we really co-produced it because we were both contributing a lot of the
100%.
Yeah, like
you I mean, honestly, I would consider you producing absolutely 50% of it because
50% at most.
Yeah.
I mean, at most I'm willing to agree with that because like I think this was an interesting project because of that. Like we both had to inject a lot of our own vision into it because it was it was so much for two people.
I'm just glad that you have, and I think this is probably one of the first projects I've worked on where our missions or our personalities or whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure, but I guess our vision and execution kind of just meshed pretty easily, in my opinion. Right. Like I just took your vision and then we filmed it. Like you had I feel like it was very structured and well put together, and like it was just a really sort of easy wrote mesh.
The general episode.
Yeah.
But then you immediately knew how to visually
edit in my head, like what I'm going to have to do.
Build that. Right. Yeah.
How many takes of what I need. Yeah,
I mean, that don't undervalue that. And I think that's a lot of what I'm understanding about video is just how many layers it is. Especially when a lot of people don't understand you don't film video chronologically.
Sometimes you don't. You can. I mean, you can. I honestly am a proponent of doing that. Yeah. I love doing things in chronological.
You can, but in this situation, we couldn't. We had certain time restrictions. We had to be at the food truck at this time window, be on a different day at the farmer's market with this time window, and just make everything work out of order, but pre-written in our minds.
Yeah.
You kind of knew as you were taking footage where that was going to be layered in. But that's not easy. Like, I don't know. And if I think about it, like a lot of the people who work in television, if I think about your role, you weren't really just a cameraman. You weren't just an editor. You weren't just a producer. Like you weren't just the sound guy. You were all of them.
Right.
In the same way that I had to be the host, the chef,
the
writer, and sort of the EP in that sense, because I'm like trying to kind of overall fund and get this thing like off the ground. It just had to play out that way. Damn, it's complicated, and we'll end up probably at like under 15 minutes, and it was 4 days.
Right. Yep, a 4-day shoot.
And that doesn't count the editing. That's not even the post-production.
No, the post-production, I will tell you, is probably
that.
I went so hard on that edit. I knocked that. I told him that it was going to take about 2 weeks. I knocked it out in 3 days. I just like got sucked into it and started crushing it, and then sent it. I had a point that I was going to make. I totally forgot my point again.
I have a question about that. So was it, I was wondering if you were nervous when you sent me the first cut.
No, not really.
You felt good about it.
Mm-hmm. I don't, that's the thing. I never, you will not get a, here's how the project's going. I'm not going to give anybody direct file access to something that I'm not proud of.
Yeah, hell no. I agree with that. Yeah.
If you'd like to look at my screen, then we could set up a time to meet and look at some stuff. But nah. That's something a lot of people don't think about as well as file ownership. That's a whole thing.
Oh man, we had a whole conversation about files the other day.
Yeah. Not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a lot of them in this industry when you're in film or photos or any of this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of files, endless files, terabytes of files.
I am really glad though. Like I was saying, you mentioned that it is very complicated, and like I was saying earlier, it feels crazy that it's meshing together. So I feel it so nicely, even though there are a lot of moving parts to it. So
yeah, no, and I really know nothing about your end of this, so I have no choice but to kind of like,
sure,
let you run wild,
right?
And that's something I'm really happy to do, which is strange for me because I would generally consider myself a control freak.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have picked. I mean, I guess chef almost kind of makes sense. You have to be very controlling of what goes into items, but
and I'm used to kind of like being my own boss and working on pretty much all the work that I do is solo projects now. So I'm in full control of, the design and visual aspects and creative aspects of most of what I've been doing lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I think it's just not the right way to handle things. It's not your expertise or whatever. I mean, I caught myself a couple times. Like I'd be like, "Oh, we should do this." Like, I'm like, I'm not a
no. Always feel free to give notes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I always need feedback.
Well, it wasn't really feedback as much as just like, "Oh, we could do a shot there," or whatever.
Sometimes there are times where you'll say that, and it's like an action sheet thing. Like Solma was coming around the corner, and I wasn't. I had it in like 60 frames and it was in a weird frame rate. And I was like, none of my things were where it needed to be.
Got it.
Get the moment.
Right.
No.
I was forgetting about the technical parts, but she just like, I saw her open the door and she's just like walking out of the street.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, catch that. Like, that looks so cool. I mean,
I didn't, what I need to remember next time is I can get the next, she's working.
She's been doing that.
If there's something repeating.
Like, just
get it later.
I did that today when I was like, man, these buckets of chilies look so cool. Can you like get a video of these buckets? And,
yeah.
Like, you did it a different. I had some stupid idea in my head. It wasn't, but I just thought the buckets looked cool. And whether they end up in the edit or not is not my fucking problem. But like, I shouldn't really get involved that way in the creative aspects. Like, it's not really. But sometimes
I mean, if it's contextual,
cool.
Like your point, you wanted to bring those buckets in because you knew he was going to say something along the lines of buckets, or you were going to set him up with the little firecracker.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So no, I think that's a good edit and a good producer back end kind of thought.
Yeah.
So no, always feel free. I like to collaborate,
and you can also tell me to shut the fuck up.
No. No.
Like, nah, that's not gonna work.
The first dead air.
Yeah, it was tequila break.
Tequila break. A little reposado.
It's nice tequila. I had not tried this. Moving to Texas.
I was gonna say try to keep that.
Oh yeah, moving to Texas. I can't believe how much tequila is available. That's like craft.
Why?
It doesn't exist that way in other parts of the country. Like
yeah, because we're right next to Mexico.
Yeah, they'll just be like this little. I mean, I know why.
Oh,
I'm just saying it's nice. Coming from like the Northeast, like, you walk in, there's like a few tequila, like the normal,
I wouldn't know.
Cuervo and Salsa and
right.
Patron if you're splurging or whatever it is. But like,
yeah,
this liquor store by our house has like this fucking wall of tequila. It's wild.
Where are you going to get your stuff? Is it Twin Liquors?
Yeah. Just Twin Liquors over here. I've been like enjoying it, like just trying different bottles every time. It's kind of cool.
I don't remember which one it's either Twin Liquors or no, Specs is the shittier one. Sorry. Sorry, Specs. I guess there's no sponsorship for this guy.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, no, one of them feels like you walking into a museum of alcohol.
Crazy.
I'm pretty sure it's Twin Liquors.
Crazy. I don't know. I'm trying to think like, what else really caught me off guard. I think, obviously the time. I think I see why they wanted to make sure they saw me interact with other people, because that is a whole other, I don't even know what the right word is. It's a whole other genre almost. Like,
yeah.
we talked a little bit earlier about being okay on camera, natural, comfortable, whatever, but then trying to continue doing that while bringing out the best in a guest or somebody you're talking to on camera in that sense, really threw me off. That was not,
because it almost feels like you're looking at them for like, come on, man. Come on. And they know that you're feeling, even if it's not that much, they'll pick it up.
I think we found across the board that the guests had a lot more to say. It was easier to get them to ramble on than to.
There is a serious art and formula to conducting interviews like that. Yours is a little bit different because it's more of like a live almost act thing.
Right.
And interviews can
conversational.
Right.
But I know what you mean, because you have to be very specific about the questions you ask.
It has to drive them right into the answer you're looking for.
Right. Otherwise, like, we'd ask a simple question and get a history lesson.
Right. And Lord knows that would save the U.S.
Yeah. He was like
that's why there's problems in politics, is they are masters at interviews. They drive you right to the answer they're looking for.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Politics. I refuse to talk about politics.
Yeah,
We're not going there.
I don't think I can.
I'm not going there.
I'm
not well versed. I can only criticize that point that I just did.
I do follow and love politics for the entertainment value and take it seriously at the same time, but like, it's broken right now.
Yeah.
It's just broken right now in our system. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think interviewing is a craft, and I get why they wanted that specifically, because I can see why for them, if I can't do that, it's probably a deal breaker. Like,
because that's the whole premise. You're going around to strangers in different parts of the land.
If you can't do that, then, and that's the trick here. Like, I think me actually being a decent cook has nothing to do with this at this moment. The cooking part, yes, we did it, but that could have been something I like practiced for. I'm not. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not convinced that a lot of the TV personalities you see in food, like on the Food Network or things like that, I'm not sure. Shouldn't yawn.
No, I want the yawn. Give me the yawn.
Oh man,
people set that as a ringtone later and fall asleep to it as white noise on repeat.
No, I'm not sure how if they're like the best chefs in the world or anything. I don't know. I mean, maybe they are, but you don't have to be, because it's much more challenging to be on camera than it is to cook in that sense. It's a very specific skill set. In other words, there's a lot of amazing chefs that are better than me all day that will never get certain opportunities on television because they're just terrible on camera. It's just a reality. Like, it's like we're creating entertainment before we're creating food. And that's tricky. And there's you can feel certain animosities around that. Like, there are a lot of chefs who work in really respected restaurants, work on the line, work their asses off, and kind of resent TV personality chefs, and for good reason, because they feel like it's sort of a shortcut, and you get famous and then you get to open restaurants, and you get famous around an industry that you didn't necessarily earn in the same way as some of these chefs who've spent 10, 20 years on on a hot kitchen line, and like learning and, from, you know what I mean?
I'm just thinking like, well, in the grand scheme of things, like the prodigy person kind of that's just how life is. Sometimes things aren't always going to be just so fair. Like, the people who are good win. And then
you're right.
And they sometimes don't get to choose that, I suppose, due to their personality, like you were saying, but
no, you're right. I mean, and you see that in other industries too, like music and stuff. A lot of really, really brilliant, talented musicians never never make the millions and millions that the main
Right.
pop artists
They're
make or
singing in
whatever.
the train subways.
Yeah. I guess that's true. It's not about fair or not. It's just a system in place, I guess you could say. There's music for entertainment, just like there's cooking for entertainment. And I'd like to believe I fall, somewhere in between where, I really do take food seriously, but I also get to play on TV occasionally with that, and keep sharing my food, and now getting into writing and sharing my food in physical form in a book. It makes it more real for me. But that's why I said, like, the last year's wild, because now I'm working on solo projects. I'm not cooking food for people anymore. I'm writing food and filming food.
Right.
And though people don't get to eat directly what I cook, I do like the recipe part of this, because I get to see people actually eat my food at home. They made it.
Right.
Which is almost a little bit more special in a certain way, but it's still my food, and it's still kind of a little bit of a piece of my heart. And I mean that sounds corny to a certain extent, but it's also true. Like it is a way that I can still share food and share a little bit of myself with people in a COVID world, I guess.
Right.
Since I'm not doing like private events and stuff right now.
And for the listeners at home, anybody that is keto, this man has he was talking about developing a book and developing recipes and all these types of things. And you have the launch date, right? Are we able to talk about the launch? Okay.
Oh yeah, no, the book is actually out already for pre-sale.
Okay.
Amazon, Target, Walmart.com, all that good stuff. Yeah, you can pre-order now. It comes out December 8th, so it will arrive in time
for my birthday.
For your birthday, December 8th. I did that for you. We did that for you.
Special.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's called New Keto Cooking. It's an approach to keto that's a little different. I mean, you find a lot of these diet centric keto cookbooks where it's really like, lose 15 pounds in 30 days with this cookbook meal plan, right, and like, a lot of that kind of stuff. And this book is really trying to get away from the fad diet part of keto, away from the sort of buzzwords and like, this is a hot thing and lose weight quickly, and like kind of get out of that commercial diet mindset and just eat some really good food,
to try and help people realize that it's a lifestyle instead of...
lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, you can lose weight with all the dishes in here. I did, but you won't find any meal plans or a whole lot of weight loss talk in the book. It's really about the food. That's the way I really wanted it. And I was super lucky to work with a publisher who let me kind of share it the way that I wanted to share it. And so, yeah, this book is really different. It's not a normal keto cookbook. It's kind of the tagline of it is restaurant quality food people won't believe is keto. And that's really what it's about for me is turning healthier food into something special, into something that you could find at any restaurant and feel proud to eat it and feel happy to eat it, and impress your friends if you're having a dinner party and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, the recipes are still easy and like completely accessible to anybody. There's no crazy ingredients or sous vide machines required. It's all, just like stuff you can make at home at any skill level in the kitchen.
Not me.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Hey, you took one of my recipes and quickly adapted it.
I adapted the shit out of it. I was about to say, macaroni is my main food group. It is. Oh my God. Fire again. Oh my God. Oh, that's my worst fear. I hate fire so much. I love that. It's a little cute fire, but
it's a cute fire.
What was I even talking about?
Sorry, I distracted you again.
It's okay.
I keep messing this up.
How do I make that less tight? A question I've never asked.
Probably. Oh gosh, it's this thing, I'm sure. All right, I'll stop messing with my mic. That sounds good. You took one of my recipes.
Ah, yes.
That was a healthier approach, and then decided to stuff it with like cheeseburger macaroni.
Cheeseburger macaroni flavoring, because I had part of some of the, okay, so I stuffed a poblano pepper full of macaroni and cheese and beef, and yeah,
it's actually quite genius though.
I mean, it was your creation.
No, not at all.
It kind of was.
I think there we go, collaborating again. There we are, collaborating again. I mean, that's smart though. That's cool. It's cool to take something unhealthy, make it healthy, and then make it back to unhealthy.
It's called refried.
Right. Twice cooked. Hashtag twice cooked.
We don't have to stay on it if you don't want to, but also it seems like all of our interests kind of are having that mesh quick thing, because the music side kind of was cool yesterday.
True.
Play a little bit of piano, did a little bit of singing, and we can stop there if you like, because I know you said you don't always talk about music, but
no,
you do have a talent.
I don't have a problem talking about it. I love music.
Okay.
No, I love
you just
music.
think you seemed like it was a thing you wanted to not talk about.
No, not at all. I just don't really talk about it on my socials.
Gotcha.
I don't have a particular reason. I get shy around music. I think that's why I brought up the being a vocalist is hard. Because I love to sing. I'm not great at it by any means, but I genuinely love to sing. And but it stays in my car. I'm sure a lot of you understand that. You know, a lot of people listening will understand that.
Everybody's car and shower.
Yeah, the car and the shower. I'm definitely shy about it, so I just don't really bring music onto my kind of culinary centered accounts.
Right, of course.
But I do love it. It's a big part of my life, and I miss it. I've thought about like looking for other human beings to connect with music on. For a while, because it's definitely very therapeutic and really a big part of me.
Yeah. I would love to do that with you. I've been looking desperately for somebody who has some shred of musical talent that wants to have anything to do with me. Contribute 100%. And make a thing. That would be great. Especially since you play a little John Legend. That's the first song that I ever sang in public.
I love John Legend. I would honestly love that. It's hard to find people who want to make music together. It's not easy, actually.
See, I've never made music with anybody else, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I have with friends. I used to, a lot more than I do now. I used to do that, but it's fun, especially when you have people you get along with. You could just have fun with it.
Yeah,
and it just be something enjoyable and. I would love to do that, man.
I wonder what our voices would sound like too, because I would be singing last night. You would hit some other note that I wasn't planning on going to, and I'm curious whether or not those were also harmonized in some way. If I was low and you were, because there were some times where I was hitting just like I don't know, maybe an octave or a different note for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what. I don't really remember singing last night, to be honest.
Oh, you had some notes, and I was like, it is. So it is like the whistling. Great, fantastic. You're a fantastic singer. So.
I was just. So it helps me play piano sometimes
to find the notes.
Yeah. Well, when I was trying to like just play a song by ear, like I think we were trying to play Alicia Keys or something by ear, and I was just trying to find the chords, and it helps me to kind of sing through it, for sure.
You said you were making music with your friends more often, like in a past life or something? Yeah,
I used to write. Okay, this is really weird. I really don't get into this because it was years ago, but I used to produce hip hop beats. And soul and like jazzy kind of hip hop beats. And there was a bunch of local rappers that I worked with that I wrote music for and recorded them in my home studio. And I worked at a recording studio as well, where I did some of that, and that's where I started to learn like mastering and working in Pro Tools and actually recording recording music, not just producing it and writing the beats. But I used to produce kind of a very distinct jazzy hip hop style of music a while back for years.
Did you put it out?
I mean,
on SoundCloud?
Some of the rappers put it out. Like I have beats on various small local albums. Like,
I'd love to hear them.
Nothing that ever really went mainstream.
Sure.
But
if you did, you'd be paid right now.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah, no.
No,
No, I
you
mean,
didn't sign no contracts. Some friends.
no, it was
friendly?
much more loosey goosey than
Yeah.
that.
No, I know.
And it was just something I loved to do. So I was just like, there was like a phase where it was just like writing so much music that it didn't really matter where it went.
Yeah.
It was just something I loved to do, and I do miss those days. That goes like, man, I haven't done that for years. But we were talking about this yesterday. I'd basically just start on the piano and just kind of some random chords would come out, and this piano connects via USB as a MIDI device. And
so very nice.
I can just like sit there and riff and then pull like, you know, a 4-bar chunk of it, bring it into a production software, basically make my own samples, and loop it and start to build music out of it.
Right.
And so that's why I kind of had like this sort of like jazzy or piano-y or instrumental feel to it. And a little bit of kind of R&B, like sometimes some slower stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I just haven't been in that space. I mean, that was back in college when you're like surrounded by so many people kind of living, not necessarily living together actually, but just like.
Right. There's a constant community.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You see the same characters in your movie every day.
Yeah.
There's Susie walking down the hallway. Look at her.
Yeah.
Hey, Susie.
And there were so many talented musicians that I had sort of gotten connected with through, you know, these recording studios back in Pittsburgh. That once it started, it kind of kept rolling for a while, and it just became something I really enjoyed. But it's been a while. It's got to be 10 years.
Damn. 10 years flies so. Ugh.
Yeah,
that's scary. Like the last time I dunked was around 10th grade. That's how I keep track of time. The last time scale? I dunked.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I think it'd be fun to sing together. We didn't really sing yesterday or today, but I do think it'd be fun. I have a feeling you're a lot better than me, but
no,
I could back you up.
I think
I
think we have different styles, like you were saying a second ago, because you sounded very classically trained, and you mentioned doing that in I don't remember if it was high school or college.
No, I definitely wasn't. There was classically some singing trained, somewhere, but I was doing a
like
lot
choir
more
stuff, right?
Yeah, musicals, choirs.
Yeah,
gospel.
Right, musicals. Kind of musicals. I heard musicals last night. That's what I heard.
Yeah, for sure. It's not
like Andrea Bocelli, right? Not classical.
Well, that's some like opera shit. Yeah, no, not opera. But I would love that when the cameras are not rolling, because you will never get me to do it with something mic'd up.
Why not? How about
no?
I mean, you clearly have a background in producing music too, and I have audition, and we can put some things together.
Oh, in that regard, I mean, if we like rehearse something, but I mean like not an unpolished work.
Right.
That would make me too shy.
Can you imagine traveling the country, not tasting food, also tasting food, but that's the fun part. That's the night after, and you really get paid to go around doing what we just talked about.
That's funny. Well, that would be kind of dreamy to just. Like, to be honest, if I could make a living doing any of these things, I'm into that. We've been talking about this sort of thematically, basically. The hustle that you and I are in right now, that we're really trying to make it and work in this in our own ways, work in in what we want to be working in, but on our own, self-sustaining,
right?
Self-sustaining, self kind of driven, self-employed, all of the above, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
No,
I'm sure there are days when you're like, why don't I just have a job?
Sure. There are definitely days where I asked that, and then I'm like, I'm going to take a shower. Just kind of try to wash it off.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. There's like minutes where we're like, man, a regular paycheck sounds so luxurious. But then again, I wouldn't change this up.
And I wonder if it's the same for you, because and it sounds bad because I was talking about being collaborative earlier, and I do want to be collaborative, but if it's a corporate collaboration, in terms of like working under some sort of policy guideline thing, and my paycheck depends on it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like being in the corporate machine.
Yeah. I think
There's a different
the
thing.
paycheck itself is appealing, but that's pretty much where it ends for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd rather.
You want the freedom. You want the autonomy.
I'd rather make less money, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like that's kind of my initial point was I'm gonna take a shower at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm home right now.
Right.
And you're sitting behind a desk. Sorry.
Right.
I'm really sorry.
Right.
Or standing behind a desk, even worse. Standing behind the register is a very tough job.
Yeah, I've done
as
that
I learned
for
from Starbucks.
Yeah, I've done that for years too. I worked in restaurants for years. I've put in my time in the workforce. I started working when I was 13. I never really had the ability to not work.
What the hell were you doing when you were 13?
I worked in an Italian restaurant under the table without a work permit. All I did was for hours at a time, like roll the cloth napkins with the fork and knife inside, and like roll them into like the napkin blunts that go.
Oh my God. The napkin blunts. Yeah.
For hours at a time, and I don't remember how much he would give me, but he would pretty much just like give me like a 20 or two at the end of the night. And it was a lot. I mean,
for how long you say?
Well, till I was 14. Once I
how long were you there to make $20?
No, I knew he would give me like a couple 20s. It would depend on the day. Like, but if it was like just a dinner shift, sometimes I'd just go because like they only need it to happen when there's a rush. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I'd go in at like
I see
6 o'clock and be done at 9 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He'd give me a 20, or if it was a long shift, he'd give me 2 or whatever.
I see.
It's all under the table because I wasn't legally working.
Right,
then when I
13.
turned 14, got a work permit. Then I got moved up to be busboy and filled up water glasses. And so like I worked my way into the restaurant industry really, really early. And then actually when I was 16, was the assistant manager for Cold Stone ice cream shop. So I did some I've kind of like been in a few places in food. But I've generally worked in food since I'm a kid. And it's not easy, like you're saying, standing there to register, standing there in a kitchen, or standing. Being a server is one of the hardest jobs.
I've never done it, and I assume that it's tough. But I think that's the type of grind that I would actually be a really good server.
I could see that.
I can be very customer centric and like moving. I like to move with purpose and quickness and effectiveness, and I'm very.
It's you multitask a lot. I mean, being a server in a slow restaurant is not necessarily hard, but
sure.
If you're a server in a very packed restaurant or a very high end restaurant where the expectations are really high, it's like, man, you're a soldier. Like it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard. You're multitasking and you're memorizing exactly where all your tables are at different times in their meal and trying to pace everything. The higher end, when you're working at a really high end restaurant, the expectations and the etiquette and the order of things happening at the right time and bringing the fresh silverware with every course, and it gets pretty involved.
That's interesting because that actually just met my limit for it's now corporate. And it took that threshold. I think it's actually power that I'm feeling. I think I need to feel like I have my own power.
Yeah.
Because once I feel like I'm serving somebody who just is better than me, I'm like, I don't like this.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. I could see you though doing well in an environment that's fast paced like that. You just have to find the right vibe if you wanted to, but I don't necessarily recommend it. I think you're pretty good at your job.
No, I wasn't auditioning. I'm not trying to sell myself for this job. I
don't think you should stop doing this to be a waiter. But if you want, I mean, by all means. Oh, that's funny.
No, I didn't mean to detract you from your point. You were saying that it's a hard job, and there was a point to what you were saying, and
I don't remember anymore. I don't remember anymore. I don't remember anymore. But wait, no. What were we talking about before the waiter thing?
I'm pretty sure it was a personal story that you were telling that we went off on a tangent.
Oh, that I started working young.
Yeah, you were 14.
Oh, well, no, and I'm not intending to get into my whole thing. Nobody asked for that.
No,
but
I did.
I just mean that, now it's interesting now that like I'm kind of in my very early 30s and thinking about now I'm sort of starting a new career. Now I'm sort of taking this gamble of not working for anyone.
Right.
And not even not working for anybody, but just sort of like living as a starving artist, not literally speaking. I mean, I'm fine.
Right.
But
right.
I mean, in the sense that I'm living gig to gig.
Exactly.
Essence. And I'm scrapping together like this new career in.
Let me just make sure this is close. Sorry. Let me.
We're gonna. Yeah.
Pick that
Hey.
up.
Unless
you're good. If
you're
good,
sounds
you're good.
Great. That sounds great.
Sorry.
Yeah, like
Gig
at
to
like
gig.
31, I basically quit everything I was doing and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get on Instagram and start trying to I don't know.
Be somebody. Find
be somebody.
myself.
Yeah, be somebody.
Who am I? That's how I feel. I'm like, I was listening to something Liza Koshy did recently, and she was talking about, she was not really talking about, she was more joking about that she created her authentic self, which is an interesting statement, to create something that's authentic.
That's interesting. I remember like, to that point about like kind of an authenticity or an authentic self, when I first started getting callbacks to MasterChef and things started sort of rolling, once the snowballs going down the hill, I kept telling my friends and family, like, this makes no sense to me. I never asked for any of this. I never wanted to be on TV. I was fine in my little world. I was actually very shy and reserved and to myself. And I'm still kind of like that. Like, I don't have a lot of friends or need a lot of friends. I am still to myself in many ways. And I remember, specifically a couple of my closest friends basically saying to me, you may be surprised, but I'm not surprised at all. Like, we always knew that you were going to be something or whatever, And I really didn't understand that. And it made me really uncomfortable because I was like, I don't get that at all. And by no means am I saying, I've made it or I'm somebody.
No,
but it's I guess my point is around confidence and sort of self-image and just feeling like I deserve any of it or whatever.
Right. It's hard to recognize your own talent sometimes because you don't know how normal this is. This is your life. This is your perspective. This is how things just are. Like, you wake up and you just happen to be good at singing.
Yeah. I mean, I never would have thought anybody would have cared enough about like my food to want to cook it at their own house or whatever. And,
right.
I never really thought of myself as really having a voice at all for other people. It makes me uncomfortable to even talk about it right now because it feels so bizarre and it feels so narcissistic to be using that type of language.
Right.
Like it drives me nuts when people talk about their like Instagram followers as fans, air quotes. Like I hate that, it's like I follow a lot of people, not their, like, I don't know. That's a very egocentric term. Like, oh, my fans want me to do this. And like,
well, it might make you feel better. Again, like I said earlier, I love Bert Kreischer a lot.
Right.
I hate that I'm not going to get back into it, but his point about, he talked about, he had an interaction with a fan and he didn't really understand what fans were until he listened to what this guy had to say. He was just like, hey man, I'm a fan of yours. I just always want to see you win and I'm just on your side. And I love you. I love everything that you are. And that's what a real fan is. And so I think if you have those people, you should just be super proud of having those types of people.
All 5 of them.
I mean, hey, I'm in the same boat right now. Yeah. I have I definitely have one super fan.
Yeah, no, I know. I understand.
It's not my mom.
My mom is definitely my biggest fan still. She calls me all the time. Did you see? My mom texted me yesterday, texted me to comment about my Instagram story.
Milo was so sweet.
Texted me about it.
Milo's his little greyhound.
My mom and dad watch my Instagram religiously. They live halfway across the country, and I think they, they enjoy kind of seeing my daily world or whatever, which is new because even that as a form of like inclusion is new. Like being able to bring my parents into my daily life is a completely new phenomena for me.
Why?
I never really let them into that extent, I mean,
to your life on like a
not on a daily basis,
not
like
on a
that.
I guess not on a daily
like
basis.
Knowing what I'm eating or what I'm doing, like I don't know that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you have
I've never
phone calls,
but
but
thought about that.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah. That's weird.
It's strange at first. You know, it is strange at first. At first it made me really uncomfortable because I was like, man, not that there's anything that they would see that would be, it's just knowing, and it's not just about my parents. It's just knowing that people in your life, it's a sense of like transparency, like living in a glass box, that people can see what you're up to all the time. And one of the things that I had to discover around social media, because it can get overwhelming when you start to think about this, that people are constantly seeing your world, whether you want them to or not. And then you realize that you're in full control of that. I do not have to. Like today, I have nothing on my Instagram stories. I didn't film today, and I intentionally didn't bring people into what we were doing today.
Right.
For whatever reasons, I just didn't feel like I needed to or whatever, but I'm in control of that. I don't even have to have a reason. It's my story to tell.
Right.
And I think that's really important. I've definitely seen people lose, kind of fall out of balance with how much they exist on social media.
Yeah, it really seriously does bring out somebody that you've never met before.
Yeah.
You meet yourself, your like weird ego self. Like for people who have never felt what it feels like to have over 10,000 followers and have all these extra features and that, like you start feeling like there's eyeballs and something comes out.
And that's by design.
Sure.
It's designed to feel good. You want more. You want more. You want more. And you're never going to have enough followers. Like you're never going to have enough money. There's always more. There's always somebody richer than you or somebody with more influence than you or whatever. And
yeah,
I do think it's all, it is all by design. But I have figured out that I take chunks of time off from social media. I can control the narrative. So sometimes I don't necessarily want people to know what I'm doing that day. I'll still videotape it and then post it the next day as if it was happening then.
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
I haven't posted shit in 2.5, 3 days now.
Yeah. I mean, you tell your own story. It took me a little while to realize that, but it's really important that I think people know that with social media, that you control your story.
Right.
So, yeah. We all kind of live in that glass box right now.
And that glass box can crumble in an instant too for me, because I was thinking, what if social media meets my threshold for what I feel corporate is, and then I don't want to be on social media and don't want to do it, because that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Is sometimes I'll just take a break because I feel like, why am I I just don't want to look at my phone. I'm just like, what? Why? I just like need to control the situation and drop it, turn it off.
We were talking today about our thumbs hurting.
Yeah, mine's definitely I'm gonna have.
Yeah. I get that. I get that alert I set my thing to alert me on Instagram, and I've been 3 hours on Instagram, and I have to admit that I hit that every day. Sometimes I go past it, but I pretty much hit 3 hours on Instagram every day. Not every day, like days like today where I just don't. That's why I take days off.
Right.
But yeah, I put that little alert on.
I'm going to get screen time. Let me see. I want to know your screen time, and I'll tell you my screen time. Oh, okay. No.
Wait, how do we do that?
Go into settings.
Yeah.
Go to screen time. It's right under do not disturb.
Shit. Oh, I have it turned off.
I think mine definitely does not look right. It's saying 1 hour daily average. That's not possible. So what are we doing here?
Instagram
Why are we not
may
tracking?
Tell me. I don't know.
That's weird. Instagram definitely has the same feature, but I was looking for like the phone too. Now
there must be a setting for it. We'll have to find it.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how to do this?
Mine says right now time 53 minutes on average. That's not bad a day.
Oh.
But I do have 5 accounts, so I should look at those.
Here, you ready? There's a your activity button on Instagram. Yes. My daily average is 2 hours and 47 minutes a day.
That's not bad.
Not bad? What do you mean? That's a half-time job, basically.
This is your half-time job. This is your full-time job. We just talked about this.
Then it's the worst paying job in history. Yeah, but I have a daily reminder set to 3 hours.
How did you get to yearly like that? Let me just grab that for myself because I'm seeing time in a weekly basis.
Oh, look, that's weird. I did just get the update.
Oh, there it is.
But
that's the update. It wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah, that was weird. I clicked the little tabs, the little menu button, and then settings, and then your activity.
Yeah, that's what I did. Mine just doesn't give it to me on a yearly basis.
No, it's not yearly.
Oh, I thought you were saying yearly.
No,
that's 2 hours a week?
No, 2 hours a day.
3 hours. Oh,
average of 3 hours a day over the last week.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
Right. That's a. Listen, if I open my YouTube, I'll bet you my YouTube is sky high.
Fair enough.
Fair
enough. Well, now with Reels, like I'll just like zone out and watch Reels for 10 minutes here and there too.
I was just listening to something that was talking about how Reels and TikTok, I mean, everybody kind of knows this, I think. I think it's kind of common sense in a way, but they were talking very high level about it. Just the fact that the videos start right away without your consent. You just kind of open the app and here you are. You're in it now. You're in the Hyperloop. And unless you find that thing that doesn't catch your attention, you're not going to break focus and you're in it.
Right. Again, by design.
Mm-hmm.
They need you to stay in the app as long as possible and get as addicted as possible.
Of course.
That's all by design. And the only power we have is to turn it off.
And you have to want to.
You have to.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
you have to want to. And if you can't find the will to want to, then how do you do that? How do you find that? How do we find that? Because you could speak to losing the weight because that kind of that plays into that.
Another thing we have in common.
Almost the same weight that we lost too. I lost 60. You lost 80. Was it?
Yeah. Although I'm probably at like 70 now. Too many cheat days.
Same. I was actually, for real, I was in the bathroom earlier taking a shower and got out, looked for the abs.
In that giant mirror?
While flexing. Couldn't see them. As much, it's just like for real.
Some of that's my fault. We've been eating
a lot
while you're here.
I have been consuming... he is a chef after all.
Yeah, and the vendors are feeding us, and
right.
We're doing long nights and ordering fast food and pizza. Yeah. This is not good. Not good.
Yeah, I was actually having that conversation with myself in the mirror. It's like, hey, you've had enough. You've had enough. You can have a cookie. You've met your limit, and now you're allowed to say no. Tell yourself to say no. Next time. It's okay. You can decline.
I mean.
It's all a discipline. It's all for me. That's the conversation you have to have.
I'm going to forgive myself this year. I think 2020 was an understandable year to gain a few pounds.
You could almost kill somebody in the year 2020. Some people haven't gotten away with it.
The increased, what is it, like the cortisol levels from the stress or whatever. Like, yeah, for sure. We're all in fight or flight mode right now.
I mean, I will say that everything does feel much friendlier. I noticed, so the last time I was here, the debate hadn't finished. The election wasn't over. And so everybody's signs were still up. And so I know who had what in their yard. Like,
are they still up?
No, they're all gone now. But I know where those people are.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's like everybody just for this 3-day period just shows their true colors. Here I am, running around buck naked. Right. Look at it. And
then magically the next day
you take it off. Again. It's like you put up a OnlyFans for 24 hours.
That's funny. I kind of know what you mean. You know, it's a new neighborhood where I live now, and pretty much everybody just moved in, and there was one person who put up a giant Trump banner, but only in their backyard where no one could see it, and you could like see it through the cracks of the fence when you drove by. But that was it. Nobody put yard signs because I think everybody in the neighborhood is just like, how do we feel this out right now? But the next day, even from the backyard, those Trump signs were gone.
Yeah. I mean, my point is it feels friendlier right now after everything has kind of finished and we know who. I'm assuming I'm still very unclear, honestly, on the ending of it, but
no, I mean,
nonetheless, I feel like everybody's exhaled.
Yeah, no, Biden won, but there definitely is. I think that there was a lot of tension about what was going to happen. Were there going to be riots or protests, or like everybody kind of was like holding their breath after the election results came in. What was that, a week ago? Last week?
It was a week ago, yeah.
Last Saturday when the results came in.
Right.
We said we weren't going to talk politics.
No, I'm actually not going to. We're not going to get deep into it. I was going to spin this into
tequila.
I know what I was.
Will this sound come through?
Yeah, it will. Beauty.
Oh.
Right?
Oh.
It sounds like you just pissed yourself for the people listening. That's fantastic.
That was delicious. That was real. I want to keep pouring it, but then I'll have way too much tequila to drink, and that won't go well.
I will have a tad bit. Oh, actually, let me finish this water. It's literally this is ice water. Yeah,
that's ice water. All right. Mm-hmm. Here, hand that to me.
Wasn't just ice water.
I wanna get. Here we go.
Oh God. Okay. Thank you.
Oh wait, you ended up with more than me, huh?
Oh, good Lord.
Not my problem. You're young.
That's true. Yeah. Did you wake up this morning with a bit of any kind of hangover at all?
No.
We didn't really. We only had like one, huh? That's true.
I think I did. You had a little extra. But...
Did I? Yeah, no, because I woke up feeling just fine. Like, woke up at 6 o'clock, just was listening for some human life until I heard some coffee being made.
Some sounds. Yeah.
Not to mention I snoozed. I mean, I did snooze, and then I woke up again. So,
I'm not a snoozer. Oh, man. This tequila is a different experience straight out of the bottle. I'll tell you that. It's hot. It's spicy.
And it's not cold, right?
That's what I mean.
Right. Oh, okay.
Just straight, like it's got some kick.
It does, yeah.
So what's next? Where do we go from here, my friend? Because I feel that we have some chemistry. So let's make it happen. Make some videos. Make some music.
Oh, you're talking about future plans. I thought you were talking about. Well, there's been a lull in the podcast. Oh, what do we talk about next? But no, okay, you're talking about the future.
I'm
keep going.
Forward.
I like this.
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep it going. Talk is cheap, right? So let's make some music, have some fun, make some videos, do it all.
Yeah.
We
okay. Here's another problem that you might run into, that we can relate on. I feel like I have like in the things that I'm interested in that I also happen to have talent in. I want to do them all. And you're basically equally talented in all of them, whether it's amazing, or whether you're just like, those are the best things that you're good at and you're mediocre still. So regardless level, if you can do all these things, don't you want to just do all those things and not specialize? Yeah. I have a huge problem with specializing and niching.
Yeah, I think it makes somebody more marketable for a corporate, to do if you're really good at one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm really good at any one thing though. I think that I try to be good.
This is the self-doubt and standards issue we were talking about earlier. Self-doubt and standards, trying to the little teeter-totter.
Sure. But I guess I know what you mean, though. I guess I'm agreeing with you, though, about not arguing about, myself as much as just saying I know what you mean about not wanting to specialize in one thing, and just keep pushing yourself to be good at a lot of things.
Sure.
I'd rather be,
just try to make sure that they overlap. If you can make 3 things overlap, then you can do them all.
Yeah. Who just told me this recently, which I love it and has really helped me, which is perfection is the enemy of good. Trying to be perfect at something.
Better done than perfect.
It's like same kind of thing. Actually, tying this back to the beginning of the conversation, I think that was a mistake I mean, I'm glad we did it because I think we ended up getting a good clip. But basically what happened is, let me give you the backstory. Basically what happened is we wanted the intro to the video we were filming. I shouldn't say we. I was a pain in the ass and wanted the intro to the video that we were filming to be perfect. I felt like it's the first impression. We have to nail it. So today we attempted for the third time getting that perfect intro to the video. It's a 30-second kind of me explaining what the TV show's about.
Right.
And we've now tried it 3 different times. Today alone, I don't even know if I dare say the number of takes we took, but it was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
And as much as I'm glad we got the perfect take, that is not a recipe that for work that we can continue.
Right.
Otherwise we'll never get anything done.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point. Like, that's the point of what I was saying about like striving for perfection. Sometimes it just kind of prevents anything from happening.
Sure. Absolutely. That is, yes.
You know what I mean?
I've been trying recently to be better about that and use my, that's why I got a new phone, because my 6S was, 1, dying within 30 minutes of using it, but 2, carrying around a camera and doing a vlog for documenting Dan is a whole thing. And since that is my livelihood, I can't just be willy-nilly with it, running around town with a camera. Like, that's my paycheck yeah. So I keep losing my points. It's a great point. I'm trying to give you this hot lasagna, but I can't get it out. It's burning in the oven and the door's locked.
Well, I think I have an overthinking problem, and I do strive for perfection. And I asked you before if you were nervous sending me the first edit. The reason I asked you that is that in my mind, if I was you, I would have been terrified to send the first cut of the video. Not because there's any reason you should be terrified of sending something to me or whatever, but because I guess I want to turn this into a question, which is, how do you know, I could imagine if you're editing a video, you could endlessly tweak it, adjust it, trim this,
yeah.
And I mean, literally endlessly. And so I guess what I want to know is, how do you know how to stop yourself? At what point are you like, yeah, this is good?
A lot of times it's
sacrificing quality.
A lot of time there's no real limit to it. That's why it's so hard to price what I do, because I put everything into everything that I do. And I don't stop until I think that it meets whatever standard I have in my head of what I don't have a great, I mean, this is a good answer, but it's not very clear or going to answer your question.
Because you have a vision in your head, so you know when it aligns with that.
Whenever everything makes sense, like I'm sure it's like a standards criteria bulleted sort of, does this make sense? Is it flowing right? Is the pacing correct? Does the pacing match the emotion? Is this the best slow-mo clip of the lettuce turning in that perfect, juicy, contrasty, deep, rich, black and green shot of a beautiful, I was gonna say charred, but I don't know. I think it was originally lettuce. Hot fudge. That was a great outtake, by the way. We're making hot fudge. This was one of the bloopers from the takes that we were taking. I don't even know how you got into hot fudge.
Oh God, I didn't mean to interrupt you, because that was exactly. No. I mean, that's what blows me away. Because I've seen with working with you for the last few weekends, I've seen the sheer volume of clips that we've created, and obviously, I'd imagine if I kind of put myself in your shoes, the first thing you can do is kind of find the key clips that were the best ones and get them into your software, and at least they kind of start shrinking down, so you're not just like swimming in this pool of 1,000 clips. But to me, it feels daunting to think about taking that much volume of footage and turning it into something really condensed. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. And knowing kind of abstractly, okay, this is ready to send out.
Mm-hmm.
That to me kind of overwhelms my brain, because that is really hard for me to imagine doing myself. Not the editing part, although that too, but my point here more is the mental piece of like, this is good enough. Knowing when to say I'm done. That to me is something that I'm having trouble comprehending, and I find that very impressive. It's
a skill that I think I figured out. So it would be a skill that you just kind of have to build while editing. It's not something that I can really teach you exactly how to do, but right. It's something that you figure out, because when you're looking at the clip and you have the two together, you're looking at it to figure out, how can I keep this going in a linear storytelling, like sticking to the story and making sure that it just feel God, it's
intuitive almost.
Yeah. It's almost kind of abstract.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: do you think it work? Okay, so I'm going to give you two scenarios. Is it more that you?
It's just I don't know what else to do. This is as perfect as I can make it.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I might not know. No, like you're looking at the clips and you're like, how can I make this better? I don't know. I think it's good.
It's good enough.
It must be good.
That's a good answer.
I've tried all.
That's a good. I've
calculated everything.
I can't do anything else right now.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
Okay, so earlier in the process, you have this idea. You film the footage with me. You see what we're working with. Is it scenario A or B? Scenario A being, I have this video kind of finished in my head. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm creating. And all I'm doing is kind of reverse engineering that and putting everything into place. Or is it more of like something that's happening organically, where you start with one clip and then you find another clip and it kind of grows and morphs?
It's B.
It's B.
It's B.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it works,
there's also multi-streams of it too. It's like, it could be this emotion and this story, or like that same little clip could be used like 3 different ways, or however many different ways. Like, it kind of subcategorizes itself sometimes. Little drop down folders start popping in.
I think my brain works different than yours though, fundamentally, in that I feel like I'm an A personality in this scenario, where like with my creative outlets, I sort of, whether it's a photo or a dish that I want to create, I think about a dish, I dream about it, I wake up, sometimes I'll write ingredients into a journal, like literally just like, fish and this type of radish and a mushroom, and like just have these abstract ideas, and I kind of see it and then reverse engineer that in my brain and create it on the fly. I find it really fascinating to think about another way of thinking, and I'm trying to just take because I don't know anything about video, but I'm trying to take what I do know in that, and anything close to it, in the creative sense, and try to understand how that might look, from your side, from your eyes. Right.
Well, I think bringing up, because I actually do, for this type of thing that we're doing, like your structured list of like kind of a storyboard or storyline that you've kind of already written out is the creative kind of, you can be very B with that. You can you have the skeleton, and then you just start painting on the canvas
and filling in each of the colors that you need. Right. And there were a couple times today when I think I said to you, like, oh, I could see this being a perfect point to like drop in a B-roll of the front of the food truck. Like, I think I'm a very visual person, and so it's easy for me to imagine the finished product. I cannot comprehend the process of getting there that you take, with the video editing. I can't really comprehend that process. I start thinking about having literal hundreds of video clips and trying to filter through that, and it does overwhelm me. So
it is very much a systematic process though, because it's if not this then that, or if this then that, and you're just like it is still kind of structured in that way, but you're just running through a matrix of options and then selecting the best one and saying that I'm this is what I'm going to do. This is it. This is the one.
Really fascinating.
Found the best match. It's like DNA.
I will say I had no fucking clue what the video was going to look like the first time. And with the first cut before we added more footage,
right.
I had no idea what was about to happen. And I was like shooketh at the video.
I always love seeing people's reactions.
Yeah, I was like...
Shooketh is the best.
I was shooketh. Completely... I'd never seen, I don't know. I think it kind of, again, tying to another part of the conversation, I never saw myself as being somebody who makes sense on TV or something. I don't think I fit like that, TV famous actor looks or whatever. I don't feel like I look like somebody that would be in Hollywood.
Hey, let me tell you do got the leading man chin. You got it. You have the the facial structure for this, and you've got the recipes.
I don't know. Maybe
you
it's because I'm a chubby
man.
kid or whatever, and I still hold some of that insecurity. But I never really imagined that, and seeing that clip really tripped me out. Like I had like an existential moment where I was like, "Oh my god, this looks like I'm on TV."
You are,
and I am, I guess, but that was a really cool moment. I had no idea what was about to happen. And then there was the other side of that moment when my agent's like, yeah, this is not going to work.
Yeah. The producers have very specific criteria that they need to have in there. And that's the only reason we had to reshoot. Really, it was the video is good.
The video
it's just the criteria needs to be met.
Yeah, the video itself was amazing. And a lot of that was my writing. And it doesn't matter. We don't need to pick that apart because it's, we're learning through this. Truthfully, we're learning through this together right now.
Right.
Because it is a very specific genre of film work, of video work. Right. What we're doing right now, it's very specific, and it's not even like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram type of food photography or food videos, like BuzzFeed and things like that. Those videos are very specific. You have the hands and pans, as they call it, the overhead shot, stationary, and usually someone mobile. It doesn't even have to be super stable. They can get in super close, and it's kind of web-based food videos. Actually have a pretty low expectation for production value.
Right.
And it's only getting worse with TikTok, where it's 100% mobile.
I guess it depends on whose attention you're trying to get, though.
Yeah.
And why they're there in the first place.
Yeah. But when you start seeing food television, either on Netflix or Food Network or stuff like that, it has a polish that is just different than YouTube. In the food space, outside of food, there's other YouTube content that's TV quality, but in the food space, generally, the television standard is much more polished than what you see on social media or YouTube for, chefs doing recipe videos or cooking videos and stuff like that. So for us to create that level of polish was interesting. And no, that's not going to work taking 20, 30, 100 takes.
See, yeah. And I will say that I'm kind of one of the people, like, I think that I was very understanding and also very willing. Because that's another thing that kind of does show too, is like you don't always have the person that wants to be there, that wants to do, that doesn't see anything wrong with taking another take. Like if you didn't get it, like I share the perfectionism standard with you, and that's, I think, a good thing, but it can be a detriment for sure. However,
look, if we're both willing to do it,
yeah,
but it's not healthy though.
No, success isn't healthy.
No, it's not healthy. No,
most cases success is not healthy.
No, it's not healthy. It wouldn't be healthy for us to sit here and cut every sentence and like, nope, let's like,
yeah, like me manipulating my underwear right now, like,
yeah, no, it if we were to, obviously, create more projects together at any platform, whether Food Network, whether Netflix, whether YouTube, whether TikTok, it's not going to work taking 30 takes of the same shot.
Right.
in a day. Because
well, I mean, 30 that's kind of low.
Sadly. Sadly. But don't you feel like the pros, man, do it in one?
No.
No?
No.
Am I wrong? Is that just like my perception?
I think that people who are successful share the "it's not perfect yet" syndrome. Tell me the last girl's phone you've seen that doesn't have 500 selfies because they didn't delete all the bad ones.
That are subtly different.
Subtly different. Yeah. It's the same syndrome.
Interesting.
But, I mean, yeah, I have seen people do it in one take. I've been that person. Yeah, I've done it in one take.
There were some things I did
in one take. Yeah, you've done it in one take, for sure.
Yeah, for
Half
sure.
the video last time was actually a lot of it was one take. The ones that we used, like the first clip that we shot. Yeah.
And I think sometimes I need to just, like with the pepper guy, I told you, I whispered to you, I was like, we're doing that once.
Right. And you're,
whatever we get. And
I thought you were saying, I'm waiting for him to say something like, give me what I'm looking for, exactly what I'm looking for. And then you were going to.
No, I meant, for the eating the peppers.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like, I was like, we're not doing this multiple times because I'm not going to eat a fucking raw chili pepper more than once. So I was put into a physical constraint that forced me to say, we're doing this once.
Right.
But it was refreshing because we just did it once and nailed it. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the footage.
Yeah, me either.
But it felt natural. Instead of trying to create perfection, we just rolled. And I think, broadly speaking, the more that we can do that, the better we're going to be. Without me having to be in physical pain because I ate a chili pepper to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and so I think my idea,
in other words, you enabled me a little bit today. And at some point we enabled each other, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I will shut up.
Yeah. We enabled each other, I think, in a good way and a bad way, right? Because I see your point. I think it is really brilliant to find somebody who shares the passion and shares the drive to get the shot, capital T.
Right.
But we are kind of enabling each other because if we thought about it all together, the man hours that went into creating the 30-second walk and talk that opens the video, if we put it together, is really disproportionate.
For sure. Yeah.
And it's on our own doing.
For sure.
And I think, we start, you asked me what I learned from the videos. Things took longer than expected. There are factors outside of our control, and we're working in other environments. We're trying to film at a food truck with open business hours and having to pause so they can actually serve their customers before we get in the truck. And we're dealing with COVID situations and having to take masks on and off. I mean, we're dealing in tough, in the field environments. So I understand why that creates unpredictabilities and factors and variables that we can't control, and we'll get delays. But I would love to get myself to a position where, I can kind of do that one take wonder.
Right.
I've seen it. Gordon Ramsay is that way. On set, it is unfucking believable what he can do in one take. And he has found his voice, his character, his personality. It seeps through everything that he does, every project that he touches, whether you like him or not, isn't my point. He is a very distinct TV personality.
Right.
He's also a really good chef, but it's a very different trade. He is just as good at being a TV personality as he is a chef. And watching him in real life, I will tell you, he has a presence and a talent that really kind of blew my mind. Everything he did was one take. Not just on the talking. There was an episode of MasterChef where he cut apart and sectioned out a whole chicken blindfolded.
Jesus Christ.
And I swear to you, I'm not supposed to talk about like the sort of details of
well,
the
then
show.
let me make sure that I have the mic right where I need it. Give me one producer mindset right now. Just be where you are.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Producing here, folks. There we go.
There's that one episode, I think it's called The Blind Chicken, where Gordon is handed a whole chicken, gets blindfolded IRL, and in one swooped, uncut take, perfectly butchers that chicken while talking and narrating. And it was a little bit mind-blowing.
Did he just say done and walk off stage and throw
He
bones
did the whole
somewhere?
thing. He did the whole thing.
Done.
I mean, like what you
Walks
can
off.
see on that episode, which I think is on Hulu, it is fucking real. The dude is a magician, not only with the culinary skill, but with the TV and the talking and the narrating and asking the right questions. He never stumbles a word. And it really made me realize that is such a skill set that I don't know if it's taught or practiced or, natural to certain people, but I do not feel that my job as a camera, be in front of the camera is complete until I can do that, until I can be that one take wonder. I have work to do. In the same way that, we're talking about perfection, we're talking about wanting to hone those skills.
Right.
That is a skill that I know that I need to work on. I think I had some one take wonders. I had some good takes. And I think my bad takes are still, it's not that they're all bad, but being able to create those moments at 100% all the time in one, even two takes is a real talent. And I definitely want to keep sharpening that knife.
Well, I think it's the same thing as what I was talking about earlier, is just knowing when you just learning on the fly. Like it's one of those things you just have to keep doing.
Just keep doing. Yeah.
And yeah, because you've been on TV, you were on MasterChef, and people can watch that on Hulu right now, like you just said, but it is very different. It wasn't talking directly to camera as a personality.
No, and I shared the stage, so to speak, with a lot of people.
Right.
And really, it stars Gordon Ramsay. It didn't star me.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, no, but I'm saying
My
to
bad.
your, no, that's
No,
it.
to all the,
Oh, yeah. But
I've never seen the show.
it's, it was a lot less about me than what we created this weekend, which is
Right.
the point of it as a promo video and as a pilot was to make a video of me getting inspired and showing people how to cook a recipe. And, that was what it was about, as hard as that is for me to say. That was what it was about. I wasn't sharing the stage with Gordon Ramsay.
Right.
It's definitely a different modality.
Do you want that though? Like, do you want to have, I mean, you've been talking about earlier, like you don't really want the attention, but do you kind of, because I feel that way too. I feel a bit like I feel like sometimes I am a look at me, but I don't want you to look at me with your eyes. I want you to look at me in your periphery and just know that I exist and love me. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I want
I know what you mean. No, to be completely honest, I personally don't care at all about the attention. I don't really feed on that.
Yeah.
I do understand the value for my career in that I just want to be able to keep doing this. I want to be able to keep cooking and sharing myself and sharing my food with people. And TV inevitably gives me a larger audience to do that.
Sure.
I think we talked about this once before in the car, that like, I wish money wasn't even a factor. I wish I didn't have to even worry about getting paid or whatever, I don't know. I just feel like when you start to get money involved, it complicates things, because then it becomes a job and all that.
Right.
But if I took the money out of it, I just want to be able to keep cooking and keep sharing that cooking with people. And TV certainly does that. right? I mean, it gives me an audience. It gives me a platform. And that's just kind of the system that we're in, without an audience, it's tough. If I didn't have an audience on Instagram, I wouldn't have gotten a book deal. And if I didn't get on TV, I wouldn't have had the Instagram, and, you can kind of backward trace it.
So here, like, I've just heard a lot of people say that, and this might be only true for comedians or somebody who have another thing to film, like specials and things like that. Like, I hear them talking a lot about people getting a show and being like, well, fuck, now I got a show. Now I can't do my podcast whenever I want to. And now I can't do all these other things that you're trying to do. So it's almost like you need to get famous. Like you just need the distribution and awareness and the quick flair, and then you can jump off. And then, but that's like a success level too, I think, because they're very financially secure. Those people who, they've been famous for 20 years already.
Yeah, and that helps.
It's like solidified.
Yeah, that helps.
For
it
sure.
helps to have the financial security. It helps
when you can say no. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal for sure. I don't know. I don't know. I think my parents just asked me the other day, like, so what's next? Where what do you want out of this or whatever? And I don't know. I'm taking it one day at a time. Like we said earlier, I feel like I'm just kind of gigging. I'm just trying to get the next gig and stay alive.
I think that's actually really important, though. The fact that you would be willing to gig and be willing to do it for free if you have to.
Yeah.
That you're at least headed the right direction.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I have a feeling you're the same way, where like there's a lot of things you're interested in, but there's also like, do you have anything that you don't want to do? Like I know for a fact that I don't care about being like an influencer.
I don't,
is there anything you don't like about the industry?
I think influencer is a specific thing.
It's a job.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I want to have influence in things that I'm good at and have some sort of authority in a space. And that will just have influence inherently. I don't want to flaunt the influence or badge it on my chest.
Well, no, and I guess for me, I when I say I don't want to be an influencer, it's more about like working as an influencer, meaning sponsorships and paid content and kind of a professional influencer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be something that I could do with my platform, and though I can, I've realized that it does not work for me. It doesn't make me happy. It makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like selling things on my Instagram.
Right.
It's already hard enough for me to talk about my own book. Nonetheless, swipe up for 15%. Like it's just not who I am.
Right.
Nothing wrong with it. I have friends and I have no I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. Right. I just don't enjoy it.
No, I think that there's a cheap way to do it and a good way to do it. The cheap way is the swipe up for 15%. That's the quick, hey, I need to put some money in I need to make Instagram do a cha-ching for my bank account real quick. Just give me, it's just like a deposit, what's it called? A withdrawal. You take out $1,000.
Right. But am I crazy for saying like, if I really needed, if I was in a situation where I really needed to pay my bills, I couldn't pay my bills next month.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be more inclined to continue doing what I'm doing and then like drive Uber at night on the side, like work a job, like a part-time job is what I'm saying. I'd almost rather do that than, start doing like paid content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just
is that a valuing money thing, or is that a work ethic thing?
I think it's me being honest with myself about what I want to be and don't want to be. And I don't want to sell other people's things.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
I agree.
If I have to sell my own things, that's one thing. that's hard enough. I'm saying thing a lot. There's a lot of things happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine selling my own brand, but I don't really have a ton of interest in selling, somebody else's stuff for a fee or for a percent.
Right. I mean, maybe it comes down to like, do you actually use it? Like, what if you bought a product in the store and then you talked about it on a podcast and somebody at the company heard it and they're like, hey, I like your face.
Right.
And you have lots of followers and I'd like you to use our product for free and just talk about it and we'll pay you to do it. And then they'll just send you the product for free. I mean, and you'll never have to pay for it again.
Yeah. I mean, that happens, I'm not opposed to that. I guess I'm just talking, as a career choice, as a career decision for me. I've put a lot of thought into this point that I'm not interested in using my social media as a cash generator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in using it as a way to grow my audience, as a way to grow my brand, as a way to connect with people, to share my food. And it is my business too. So I'm not denying that. Like I said, it's an important part of the ecosystem that I'm creating around my brand.
Right.
But I've made a professional decision not to have sponsors.
Right.
At the expense of not making money on that platform.
Is it just that you don't want to take the money for it, or do you feel that, because what I was saying earlier is there's a cheap way to do it and that would be the swipe up, and then there's a good way to do it, and it's how we just plugged your book a second ago seamlessly, and you talked about it, and I actually didn't know a ton about it, and I feel like I'm very informed on it now. So
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course it's funny. We're talking about this yesterday because of that New York Post article.
Right. I was going to mention that's how I was going to tie in fame earlier.
Super uncomfortable because I was like, I don't know how to post that, share on Instagram that I was in the New York Post.
Right next to Patrick Dempsey and what's his name?
Hassan Minhaj. And I started drawing up, drafting this post for Instagram with a photo of the article, and then got super frustrated and deleted the draft completely. Because I was like, man, this just feels like such a flex. Like, I don't know how to low key show off that I was the New York Post, and you had brought up a really, an interesting point. There's a way to do it.
Right.
There's a way to do it where it's not about showing it off. It's about telling the story.
Exactly. Yeah, I wish so badly that I could have gone into the HEB looking for the article for you,
running up the aisles.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. This can either work out and he finds it, or he doesn't find it, and then where am I going? I'm already in that creator.
And then I'm on the phone with my friends in New York trying to search bodegas and
there's so much suspense.
There was a lot happening. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there is a way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
With all of this stuff. I think for me, I have kind of, I keep my sanity with Instagram by creating boundaries for how I treat it and how I treat the people that choose to follow me and join me on this journey. One of those decisions is by kind of staying very, authentic. And I feel like if I'm being paid to sell a product, I'm immediately questioning
I see.
Questioning my authenticity.
I see.
Around that product. And I use a lot of brands' products in my recipes.
Right.
And I used to tag those companies just out of respect. Without getting paid for it. Like just in the recipe list, I'd be like at whatever's almond flour or whatever we're talking about. And then I've kind of stopped recently just because then I'm like, what if people think I'm getting paid for this when I'm actually not? That's almost worse because then I might as well have gotten paid for this.
Right. You're doing it for free again.
Now I'm like screwing myself because I'm like looking like a jerk and still not getting paid for it. So now I stopped tagging companies really at all. And I've emailed almost every company that continuously just like sends packages to my house because they want the free unboxing videos.
Right.
Which I used to be happy to do and like support local businesses. And then I was like, again, same issue. I'm just starting to look like I'm probably getting paid for these things, even though I'm not.
Right.
And so, yeah, I feel pretty strongly about trying to build balance with my social media in my life, in my business, and try to kind of figure that out. But I don't care about, the free stuff or the money. I think to a flaw where I just want to keep doing this. I really don't care about the money. And I don't know if that's good or bad.
The reason I was asking whether or not it's like, are you value, like, where's that coming from? Is it a value of money or is it a work ethic? The fact that you'd rather wash dishes and drive Uber than post something that says, hey, buy this because you have knowledge about a subject, and then you've enhanced other people's lives by putting this product in their life. They're having a good experience with the product. So long as they have a good experience with the product,
right,
and everybody loves it, then there should. It almost stems from like I want to work. I want to be. You want to feel like you're tangibly doing something.
Yeah, I want to earn it.
Right.
Yeah, I want to earn it. That's true. Yeah,
and in a way you have, because you have knowledge and you can tell people that you have used this, and it can feed into positivity.
I see your point. Yeah.
I'm helping myself with this right now. I'm putting myself through. I have the exact same problem you have.
Yeah.
We definitely share this quality.
Yeah.
Very
Which
much.
is also funny because we both got business degrees.
No, I didn't. I dropped out.
Okay.
I had never finished that story.
But you went to business school or something.
I never even got to the business classes. I dropped out in core shit.
Okay. But yeah, I think I put a lot of myself in it too, in the sense that when I follow, the people that I love to follow on Instagram,
mm-hmm.
I kind of skip through the stories that have swipe up ads and things like that. A lot of the bigger accounts that I follow. I mean, we all, everybody does it on Instagram. It's almost expected.
Right. You definitely learn who's going to have an ad today.
Yeah. And you become immune to it. I think YouTube's monetization model is the best 100%. For a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's hardest to obtain. I mean, obviously it's really hard to build a YouTube following. As compared to an Instagram following or a TikTok following, which is probably the easiest of them to gain bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Though they don't translate as much. But anyway, we're just talking pure numbers.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is really cool about YouTube monetization is that it's disconnected from the content creator. I mean, of course, the content creator can still do paid, their own internal paid,
right. You can say how many ads you want,
product placement or whatever, but it feels to the user as though it's YouTube playing the ad, because it is.
It is.
It's not the content creator. And there's a disassociation. There's a separation where when I watch YouTube, I know there's going to be an ad, just like when I watch TV. I know that there's going to be a commercial, and I'm not blaming the TV show for that.
Right.
Any more than I'm blaming the YouTube content creator.
Right.
However,
you're blaming the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I see, a shameless influencer paid content, I blame the influencer for that. I blame the content creator, and I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that creator. Where my account is just, for commercial use.
I wonder if that speaks to, like, maybe that is the corporate version, like, of the person who had, because you both made a choice, and you're more artsy and they're more corporate. And if Instagram wasn't a thing, they definitely would have still excelled in a corporate environment.
Right.
They just decided they're almost a starts with an A. The word I'm looking for starts with an A. It's lost in my mind.
Yeah.
Anomaly.
Yeah, I think that YouTube would be an awesome place to, to build content on, more regularly, and I don't know why I don't, because even some of like the stories that I film, you just like, for me it just ends up coming down to the vertical versus horizontal orientation. But I know YouTube's working on that. I think they're doing
You can upload vertical if you want.
Well, I know you can.
Oh,
but YouTube is working on a Reels TikTok style thing.
Oh yeah, I don't
think
like
it's
it.
called like Shorts or something. Or whatever.
Oh,
they're working on like a.
I mean, they have stories on there. I feel like it would kind of be the same, because if you click on the story, it turns into a TikTok. It takes you right to the next story that would have been next.
Of another person or of the same
another person?
Oh, interesting.
So maybe I already have it. Maybe
so I read, but I think that's sort of like a kind of an early version, but they're trying to create
like its own app,
like its own kind of
interesting. Haven't heard about that yet.
To compete and get their YouTube content creators building shorter, vertical based content more and more and more, and those stories are probably just the beginning of it. It's also becoming a little silly, because what happens is the same people are making a video and posting it to TikTok and Reels, and YouTube and Facebook, and like it's kind of becoming redundant. Like it's all kind of the same thing. Right.
I mean, the only ad I ever kind of do for a swipe up, and I don't have the function, but the only plug I do is whenever an episode of this comes out, I just copy paste, put the video out on all platforms.
But that's promoting your own thing.
Yeah.
That's my point though. I think that we have to be able to promote our own stuff. What I don't feel like doing is promoting other companies or brands' products. Because then I'm like, I feel like I'm really providing, they're getting more of the value than I am. I'm hurting my brand while their brand is growing.
I think the only way for us to do that is a very long tail approach. Unfortunately, it's the same way that I used to sell clothes at American Eagle. I'd tell them hello, and then tell them I will help you however I can, and then walk away. And then those people are always the people that, for me, bought more. So long as you continue to go out of your way, should they have any questions.
Interesting.
And so if you had a vlog where you're not talking about these products, you just use these products because you use them, and your audience sees that for a prolonged amount of time, and you haven't plugged anything directly, then they know that you use this product on a regular basis. And the problem is that still feels artificial in a way, because then that you're, I mean, I guess maybe not, because you do already own the product. And so long as you just need the brand to reach out. And that's hard to do if you continue to use their product and they just don't care.
And I do that with Amazon affiliates. I have, my Amazon affiliate links for like any products that I just genuinely use in my kitchen, because no matter what I do, people always ask me, what is that knife? What is that cutting board? I need a good nonstick frying pan. And it costs them nothing. So I don't feel weird or uncomfortable about that, so I have like a products page on my website. I call it tools, that has like the items that I use in my kitchen. I actually got the idea from Babish. I don't know if you watch it. He's phenomenal. He's really big on YouTube.
It's actually, I think that's actually how the Moment Lens store is as well. I think they have they have a whole shop full of just like filmmaker gear.
Yeah.
And like half of it is just affiliate links that take you right back to Amazon.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just takes you right back to Amazon. And I mean, you make pennies on the sale. I mean, it doesn't really,
unless somebody like that's the thing that some people don't know about, is if they buy your product that maybe it was $5, but they also buy a refrigerator that
on
day,
the same cart,
you make $800.
But it's still very low margins. I don't really do it for the money as much as just like at some point, it starts to add up, but it doesn't cost anybody anything or whatever. And I'm happy to like provide value. I think people genuinely love to know like what pots and pans I've had good experience with, and whatever.
For the record, are like HEB regular pans that you can buy at HEB, are those of like
I don't
something
know,
that you would use?
I've never looked at their pans, I'll be honest.
Tefal?
Oh, Tefal, yeah, those are good.
Okay.
Yeah, those are fine.
That's what I have.
Yeah,
good to know. Good. All right.
Are they nonstick?
I don't know.
Are they like black or silver inside? Like, are they the raw metal, or are they coated?
On the bottom they have copper something.
They're probably not.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway.
Text me a picture one day. No, they're fine. You'll know when they're not fine, when like your shit's
They start
sticking.
it stuck to the stove the other day. My pot.
That's the pot itself stuck to the stove.
Yeah, so I left it on there for a while and maybe forgot about it.
The metal fused.
It melted the pan a bit. It was burning the pan itself.
Then you may need a new pan.
Yeah, I definitely do. I just have to cook things quickly. I just have to on and off and on and off.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm so sorry
we'll
to cut
see.
you off, but
no, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see where the future goes. For both of us individually, and I hope we get to do more projects because I had a good time with you, and I do think our skills mesh well. But I also really wanted to see you succeed.
Yeah.
In general, because I think you really have something. You have a talent, and you should definitely keep going.
Well, that means that you are a fan, and I feel the same about you. I think you're a very talented person, and you could, whatever you choose to do of the talents that you have, you could succeed somewhere with them for sure.
I appreciate that.
For
Same
sure.
to you, man. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Successful podcast.
Yeah, that is a great place to wrap these things up. Yeah. I always forget. I'm trying to get better at closing these things out and remembering to have people plug their Instagrams and all the things.
Yeah, find me on Instagram at Chef Michael Keto, chefmichael.keto. If you type Chef Michael, it'll show up. Find my website. I got chefmichael.com with the hyphen in between, chef-michael.com. Tons of free recipes, keto and not keto friendly, but everything will kind of have gluten-free, sugar-free, and it's all good stuff. So find some free recipes. I'm doing free classes. I'm doing all kinds of fun stuff online. So check it out. And of course, if you're interested, pre-order my first cookbook, hitting shelves on Dan's birthday, December 8th, worldwide. But you can pre-order it now. Free shipping all around the globe at Amazon or Book Depository for free shipping anywhere in the world.
Love it.
And yeah, stay tuned.
Fucking awesome, dude. When would you expect this pilot to be? When do you think, a couple months,
What's
2-3 months before they are telling us yes or no?
I think it would probably move quicker than that, but
more than that.
Who knows right now? I mean, obviously Hollywood is in a weird place right now. The entertainment world is in a weird place. Yes. So things are moving slower. They're not greenlighting as many projects just because they have to limit staff exposures and traveling and all those kind of things. But who knows, man? But I think we have a pretty good shot at this. I think you've put together a pretty stellar reel. So
I'm excited for it. Well,
let's make it happen.
As always, you can find everything I do at dangalvan.com. Find me on Instagram at dangalvan. In the bio, there are all my other accounts that you can check out should you choose to. That's where you can hire me and look at my cute dog.
Hire him.
Please. All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having me.
See ya. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
There are another 35 minutes of this episode available at patreon.com/dangalvan. If you don't want this episode to end, you can pick back up, not exactly where we left off, because what happened is we signed off, we turned off the cameras, turned off the mics, and then we just started hanging out, started talking about all kinds of different things. Midway through the conversation, I'm like, let me just turn on these microphones, and we left the video off. That's a whole thing I didn't want to set up, so microphones only. And it got good. We kind of recovered some of the topics that we talked about in this episode. May have covered some other things. I don't remember. I cannot watch these things back without editing them. So we just kind of went, and I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not going to listen to it. And you can get that extended cut as well as other future extended cuts, bonus episodes, music covers, vlogs, starting at just $1 a month for the podcast and $5 a month for all the extra things that I plan on doing. There may be future additional higher price tiers. I'm not sure yet. I'm still playing with all of those things. But if you go to patreon.com/dangalvan, you can find all of this and more. And I would be really appreciative if you did that. It would blow my mind, actually, if anybody paid money to see something that I am producing and editing and creating and putting into the world. I think that it would be a very empowering and positive feeling for me. So should you need more of my face and my voice and all of the things, you can find that at patreon.com/JanGalvan. That is the end of this plug. As you know from this episode, plugging things like this is a bit of a strange thing for me, and I don't love it, but sometimes you got to do it. So that's it. That's it. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, afternoon, work day, whatever. I will see you in the next one. Peace.